Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and if this is your very first time, welcome. I'm Bonnie, Old Soul Mermaid, and today we are going to be doing a little bit of a comparison video. What you have before you in the camera are, it looks like two of the same deck, correct? In fact, they are not. They are slightly different. Now, if you've been on my channel long enough, you've maybe seen my original unboxing of this deck, the Antique Anatomy Tarot by Claire Goodchild. And if you've been with me for a while, you know I love this deck, except for one thing, and that is the cardstock. The cardstock in this deck, the production value overall, top-notch for a mass market deck. But they skimped on the cardstock. Now, I think the reason being for that has nothing to do with the creator, but everything to do probably with the publisher, Abrams Notary. And I believe I heard somewhere, probably on the Wildly Tarot podcast, they did an interview with Claire, that this was the first time that this publisher did a tarot deck. So maybe that could explain, they don't know that the most important thing that you should not skimp on is the cardstock of the actual deck, the actual thing that is in your hands that you're shuffling constantly and that's getting the most use, as opposed to the book, that most people read through one time and then they don't refer to it again. So, on that said Wildly Tarot podcast interview with Miss Claire Goodchild, I heard that they were going to upgrade the cardstock for this deck. Now, I think she said a month. So I immediately, during that time frame, I went and ordered the Antique Anatomy again from Amazon, hoping to get the new cardstock. I did not. That deck went back. I waited a little while and then I ordered it again and it was the same old cardstock. Well, I sent that back because I already had 2 copies of this, because I ordered a backup, because I knew that the cardstock wasn't going to hold up for the long term. And this is a deck that I want to keep for a long time. Okay, so fast forward, I'm going to move these out of the way. I did an unboxing of Miss Claire's newer deck, the Arcana of Astrology Oracle Deck and Guidebook for Cosmic Insight. This is a mass market deck also on Amazon, and it has the same publisher. If you see my unboxing of this deck, and I'll probably link it below, I noticed that the cardstock in this deck was different. It was more sturdy. Not a heck of a whole lot, but enough that it made it, it's definitely more desirable. Maybe has a little bit more of a core. The other, the initial Antique Anatomy did not, and I'll show you those. But this, I noticed that this cardstock was sturdier, and I was going, could this be what they're going to upgrade the Antique Anatomy to? Now, Claire was good enough to comment on my video with this, and she told me that, yes, she told me when, that at that time, Amazon was out of the decks, but the new shipment should have the new cardstock. Well, I let it go because I already have 2 decks, and I already bought it 2 more times and returned it to Amazon. So I waited. Well, I was in my Barnes and Noble this weekend because I had a gift card, and I saw the Antique Anatomy, and I'm going, I wonder if now what's on the shelves, what's in Amazon, is the new cardstock. So I took a chance and I bought it because to me it looked a little bit different. Now, it may not pick up on camera, but as you can see, the box to me is a little bit darker. And when I held it up in my hand, it seemed a little bit chunkier than my initial initial copy. This is the original one. This is the new one I got over the weekend. I hope you can pick this up. There is a slight difference in width. And this has a darker, and I notice on the front, it seems to be a little bit darker tea stain. That can mean something or not. But it felt chunkier to me, so I decided to buy it. And in fact, when I compared them, it is. This one's maybe 1/8 of an inch wider than this. Okay, my original deck, the newer deck. So we are going to compare. Let's take out the original deck. So as far as I know, the books are going to be the same. It's this, and I think everything else, production value, is going to be the same. We are going to look at the cards, but just in case, it feels sturdier, it feels chunkier. This is the new deck. So you see the production value, everything is the same. Now, I'm going to go in a little bit closer now. Just so you can see this. So I didn't even take these out of the sleeve, and just in case, you know, but look at this. Look how much thicker this deck is. The edges seem to be a little darker, and I know that's not really, maybe slightly picking up on my phone. These are a little more white, and you get a little bit of tea stain in some places in the edges. Let's check out the backs, and I'm going to take off the sleeve here, if I can. Here we go. Coloring is slightly different. Again, this is a slightly lighter shade of brown. This is a little darker, more dull shade of brown, but it still has that, you know, kind of antiqued effect in the cards. They feel substantially different. And you saw the difference in the thickness. Okay. This is definitely thicker. And I can see that it's standing taller than the new deck as opposed to the original deck. Now, this is I'm gonna just get on up just a tiny bit. There is absolutely no cork. This is just like cardstock or contact paper, scrapbooking paper almost. Maybe a little bit thicker than scrapbooking paper. It's very, very papery. This, on the other hand, do you hear that heftier flip? As opposed to a little higher pitched. This has got some more heft to it. It's still thin, and I expect it's going to be very easy to shuffle, but there's more heft to this. And let's compare it to her newer deck, the Arcana of Astrology, those cards. I just got some of them out. This is pretty much the exact same cardstock. So if you got this deck, you know what the new cardstock for the Antique Anatomy upgrade is. Everything else is the same. I would say the The box seems a little bit heftier. The box is a little bit wider, of course, to make room for the thicker deck. To me, the outside seems a little bit ever so slightly darker, but that's, you know, than the original. The backs are different, but the cardstock is the same as her new Arcana of Astrology deck. Very, very, yeah, it's the same thing. I would say, let's listen. I would even say this might be even a little more, I don't know. They're the exact same size, except this has, maybe this is like a 1/16 of an inch taller. Her Arcana of Astrology, the corners are a little bit different in the decks. But this still, again, seems a tad bit sturdier, but this is definitely an improvement from the original. Now let's take a look. I'm going to take all the cards out of the Arcana of Astrology, and we're going to see width-wise what we get. Well, you know what? That's not really a fair comparison because there are more cards, I believe, in the tarot deck. So I guess that's not really a fair comparison because this is going to be, and there's some cards I can't get out of the box right now. So, but it is very similar, if not the same, cardstock. Okay, so I have decided to put my original deck on this side in order, so we can just do a quick flip through so we can see if there's any difference, maybe in vibrancy of the colors, anything like that. So we're just going to flip through, and right off the bat, I would say, and I hope my phone is picking it up, that these are, like the orange in here is a little bit more vibrant than the orange here. Okay, so there is a difference. Is there a difference in the size of the cards? No, there is not. Okay, so again, this is the newer deck, the new cardstock. This is the original. So I would say that definitely there's a more vibrancy to definitely the red and orange hues, and even in the skin tone. If you can tell, there's more vibrancy. This is a little bit more dull. This is a little bit more vibrant. A little bit more vibrancy, just minimal, but the greens and the yellows are vibrant in the newer cardstock. Ever so slightly more vibrant here. So again, this is the new cardstock. This is my original deck, the one that I ordered when it first came out, and you will see the oranges and reds, all the colors. It's mostly evident in the orange and reds in here, and like the pinks or salmon, whatever you would call this color. More vibrant, definitely more vibrant here. So I would say that if you went out to your local Barnes & Noble, or if you were to order this deck on Amazon now, or, you know, whatever your local book shop is, wherever you are, I would say you'd be getting this as opposed to this. Yeah, more vibrant. Ever so slightly more vibrant, but if you have this deck and you don't, I mean, do you really need to go out and get the new one? No. Production value, you know, the box, and we'll take a quick look at the book. Just, you know, to compare. But, so you can't tell a difference, really. I would say the imaging is a little more clear in the new one. A little bit more clear. But if, like, you were disappointed with the cardstock initially in this deck, I would say that this one is worth getting. At least it was to me. If you love this deck, if this is, I worked with this deck almost exclusively for the month of October. I find that it reads very well for me and for all kinds of readings. I haven't really used it for other people. Just for me. So that's why it was important for me to get the to find the new cardstock. So now I have 3 of these decks. I might let one of them go. We will see. I love this deck. So I'm going to be using the thicker cardstock. This one right here. Just because I think it's more pleasant to handle. I will keep, you know, depending on how many of the other ones I keep, 1 or 2. I'm definitely going to keep 1 as a backup. But I'm definitely going to be now using the one with the nicer cardstock. It's just, you know, we'll try to shuffle them, but it's just, you know, I don't feel like I'd have to handle it with kid gloves like I do with this deck. So everything, ever so slightly, I think the images are sharper in this one, the newer one. Ever so slightly, but it's almost imperceptible. It's just, if you're being a nitpicky Nelly like I am, I mean, for the imaging itself, if that's what it is important to you, I'd say no, you don't have to get this deck. But for me, it was all about the cardstock. I just wanted something more sturdy and more long-lasting, which is what you want, right, with these cards. And I find that, you know, in some of the mass market decks, the higher-end mass market decks that I've gotten lately, they have really skimped production value, boxes, and they really put a lot towards the book. Beautiful books, beautiful packaging, but then the cardstock leaves you wanting, and the cards are what you actually use, what are going to be in your hands, what you're going to be shuffling, what you're going to be pulling out. You know, a lot of people, I know people that don't even read the books that come with these, you know, decks, and I do. I always do. But, you know, I'd rather them skimp on the paper of the book, or maybe not have to put, you know, color images. A black and white image would suffice, and have them spend more money on the cardstock. Yeah, I can definitely see. There's more tea stain going on in here. Deeper red here. But again, that's not what was important to me. I think it's nice. Oop. Did I put coin? I put these out of order. Let's see. What did I do here? Coins. Let's see. No, it's here where I put it out of order. Let's put this back in order. Okay, here we go. And this is just kind of a public service video. I've done a full unboxing of this deck, but I thought some of you might be interested in knowing. Maybe some of you have held off getting this deck because you heard that the cardstock was flimsy, and that's important to you too. I love this deck. I know these images aren't everybody's cup of tea, but I love this deck. I love Claire's Memento Mori Oracle. I love listening to her podcast for the Memento Mori Oracle. If you didn't know that was a thing, check it out. She's going over each episode. They're very short. They're like, I think the longest one is like 25 minutes, but they're usually around 15 minutes. She goes over the symbology for each card in the Memento Mori Oracle. And She has actors and music, and it's so beautiful. Vibrancy, not too different in the blues. Not too much of a difference. Little bit of a difference in the purples, but not too much. Again, it's in the oranges, the reds. I just like handling this cardstock so much better. It's more pleasant to me. And let me know while I'm going through these, has this video been of any value to you? What do you think? Do you have this deck, the original, and maybe you're thinking about getting the better cardstock? Let me know in the comments below. And again, if you're finding any value, hit a subscribe, a like, a comment. It helps me out, this very small channel. I appreciate all of you who have taken the time to watch my rambly videos all the way through. I'm ever so thankful to you. Okay, so you will see that, let's see if we can get a difference in sound. This is the original deck. And we are going to do my lame riffle shuffle. I'm not a riffle shuffler, but do you see how far these cards bend back? And they don't, ooh, they don't have a core. They do not have a core. I'm used to shuffling this way or doing an overhand, but see, they do shuffle nicely. But I feel like you have to be careful because if you bend it back a corner, it's going to crease. You know what I mean? And it's very easy to do, and I'm always afraid of that because there's no bending it back. There's no snap back. So let's see this one. A lot more heft. You definitely have to work at it to shuffle, but if you're a riffle shuffler, you're going to be able to handle it just fine. Let's take a quick look at the books while we're here. It's going to be a little bit difficult to do, but we'll just find a page. See, oh, I'm going to see if I have this. This is the basics, page 12. Page 12. Yeah, it still has that kind of, it looks like the paper has been aged, yeah, increased, and that's what's so great about this deck. It looks to be about the same. Again, the printing in the book seems to be the same. Color-wise, maybe a little more vibrancy, and you can't really tell. You can't really tell. So yeah, the book is the same. The box is the same design, albeit a little heftier, I would say, a little bit chunkier to make way for the chunkier deck. And again, here we go. Look how much more you get. Heftier cardstock. Okay, so that is the end of my comparison of the original Antique Anatomy, and it's not like a second printing. It's the exact same thing, exact same images. It's just on different cardstock, so this is not like a second edition of this or anything. It's just they've upgraded the cardstock. Just little differences in the coloration of the cards, the backs and the fronts and the sides. You know, I think this one has a little bit more tea stain effect. The original one does on the edges. This one is a little more white, a little lighter, but again. So let me know in the comments below what you think, and I will be back very soon with another video. So I hope you are having a wonderful day. Bye for now.